okay, so Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., that's what we're going to talk about.
There's a TV show called Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes.
And unbeknownst to the general public, it's actually based on a comic book called Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., okay? Basically, Nick Fury, who was a character, as you know, Nick Fury and his Howling Commandos.
He was actually from Tales of Suspense.
Yeah, Tales of Suspense. He was a World War II
Don't ask me how I knew
veteran. They brought him back as a spy, and they kind of imitated the Man from U.N.C.L.E. and James Bond, and they set him in as the head of the spy agency called S.H.I.E.L.D., okay? Mm-hmm. And Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created the concept, and then...
Well, they ripped it off from 2 TV shows and whatever.
That's okay. That's fine. And then they basically gave it to Jim Steranko and let him do what he wanted. And that was basically the S.H.I.E.L.D. that was popular. And now they've made this TV show called Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which we're going to talk about in the next segment.
It has nothing to do with the comic.
Well, we'll talk about that later. But this
it has
is
nothing
basically...
to do with the comic.
Well, it's based on the comic.
Is Nick Fury in the show?
No, he's not.
Okay, so
sometimes.
nothing to do with the comic.
No,
all right, sorry.
Sometimes.
All right.
But here's the thing, okay?
Sounds like Gotham without Batman.
Yes.
I don't know. Anyways, go ahead.
So we reviewed the comic, and I have no idea what the hell was going on. I love the art. Right?
Francois
has the first word.
Listen, I'm very good at reading faces. You loved it.
It's hilarious.
You loved it.
It's so campy and
you're a groovy
it's
mama.
so out there, right? And that's what it looked. It was like when they did Men in Black, where they had to go back and show what like Men in Black looked like in the 70s. So they made all the aliens look like aliens from the 70s movies. Reading this, even knowing that this came first, of course, but going backwards and going, wow, it's like a caricature of itself. Reading this thing, and the story is so over the top. You know, I laughed at the frame where he's bursting through the wall and he's shooting, but he's also shooting up in the air for no reason. There's nothing above
it's
him.
Endless. It's endless. It's just endless lasers.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, I got full batteries in here. Pow pow.
But it was fun to watch. Like this is a kid's cartoon. Like this is what I'm watching right now. It's like these Saturday morning cartoons on paper. You know what I mean?
That's a good comparison. You know, to be fair, it is essentially the level of a Saturday morning cartoon. But let's be clear, the art, in my opinion, is amazing.
Oh, no. Steranko does some amazing work. Don't get me wrong. And I think, and I said this earlier this evening, we're talking about some Zen-tangling madness. The man creates patterns, and in those patterns, you find the energy that later on becomes bangs and booms, and a lot of artists find inspiration from this artwork. But it was so early and so beautiful. It's indisputable that this man changed what art became for comic books, what other artists found layouts to be, interesting ways to make stories go on, like the new She-Hulk series, or Frank Quietly does with some really amazing stuff.
And also, it's very pretty.
It is.
It's definitely very pretty.
Though, it's not just pretty, it's telling the story, and it's also, it gives it an element of surrealism.
Yeah.
Like, look at this. Dinosaurs.
It's so intricate.
So intricate, yeah.
Like the backgrounds and then the layers on top and then more
and like,
more.
Look at this character. This cannot exist in reality, but on the comic book page, it's amazing.
All right.
So, as we can see by this cover that Danny loves so much.
I do. I love it.
And I love it too. Jim Steranko took what Jack Kirby sort of innovated and then took it to another level by incorporating Salvador Dali and other people.
Also, but he brought it to another level. The dialogue.
I think Francois found a magical moment in the book.
There are many.
And exactly, that's what we're talking about. The dialogue brought it to a level of just... And it might have been timely.
And I think that's the thing. I think at the time, and if this is as old as you're saying, this is just what it was. This is what this comic book dialogue was like. And
it was
the same way every. Yeah,
let me blow everybody's mind.
Like I love these internal dialogues. Like, oh, I can't survive falling down this long. I should probably catch something. It's like, we understand falling.
Yes,
but of course we've seen action movies. We've seen this, so we expect that. Whereas someone who's never seen this, like, oh yeah, what's going on? Why is he floating in midair? No, he's falling and trying to catch.
He's falling.
And also, they must have gotten a deal on exclamation marks because they use a lot of exclamation marks.
Well, you got to pay for them, right?
Yeah,
and we get them in bulk though.
Like,
and
I
you
want
use them,
6.
they go bad.
I'll give you a good deal.
They're not
on
as
12.
punctuated.
Yeah. Okay.
Death has many doors to let out life. You have to use the.
Yeah.
The time has come for caution. In every shadow lurks the presence of danger. Every sound must be calculated, every move gauged. Without fault, I must not fail. This is one bubble that he's thinking to himself.
What's wrong with that?
When was the last time you said to yourself,
I
must not fail?
And talk to yourself for this long before you actually just go on to your mission.
We acknowledge that it was.
I think it was beautiful. I think the
it
writing
was-
of that.
Fits the style.
Yeah, it was commercially produced. It was mostly made with a young audience in mind.
It was probably the least selling book at the time on the shelf.
So the comic was so good, they decided to make a TV show out of it.
Let's go to break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about S.H.I.E.L.D, the TV show.
The Comic Book Syndicate will be back right after this.